I think we had a great victory here, but this is an ongoing project. This is the safety of Europe, the safety of the world. And they've raised it from 2% to 5%, something which nobody, and you're talking about over $1 trillion a year. So we're talking about a lot of money coming in from countries that we're not paying nearly enough to be effective.
NATO leaders agreeing to a spending hike as they vow to pay in a big way. It's just one of the many things President Trump touted on the world stage as he wrapped up the first NATO summit of his second term. Let's bring in Texas Republican Congressman Michael McCaul, member of the Foreign Affairs and Homeland Security Committees. So President Trump came to this NATO meeting arguably in a stronger position as U.S. president than anyone since, I guess, maybe Bush 41 in 1991 after the Gulf War.
I think that's correct. I mean, remember, every president prior to President Trump has said the burden sharing is important, up to 2% GDP, military spending. Now we have an increase of 5%, which is extraordinary. Never have I seen this before. I think NATO realizes the threat lies in their own backyard. They need to pick up the price tag for their own self-defense. We're there to lead NATO, as we always have, but they have to carry the burden of the military expenses that we too long have paid for out of the United States.
So the NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte, seemed thrilled with the president and what he's accomplished. Listen here.
For too long, one ally, the United States, carried too much of the burden of that commitment. And that changes today. President Trump, dear Donald, you made this change possible.
Dear Donald, I mean, you don't hear that from a lot of world leaders. But here's the thing. I remember back in 2017 when President Trump was leaning on NATO members, and he had all this criticism heaped on him, and the media was ripping him up one side and down the other. But who liked it? Jens Stoltenberg, who was the Secretary General at that time, and now Mark Rutte seems to love it as well.
Now, how about that? I mean, I was asked, how's NATO going to receive Trump? It's got to be awful, right? And now he has the warmest reception. I know the Secretary General well when he's Prime Minister of the Netherlands. I was at the NATO Interparliamentary Group in Brussels. They get the message now that we're sending to them that they need to increase their defense spending. And, you know, Trump has played this role very well, masterfully. And I think the Secretary General is playing off him really well to get all these other NATO countries to step up to the plate. I say bravo on the part of the president here.
So I want to turn to Iran, too, because the president said something interesting at the NATO news conference that he had, in which he said, OK, he wants to get back to the negotiating table with Iran, but that it really doesn't matter all that much. Listen to what he said.
We're going to talk to them next week with Iran. We may sign an agreement. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought. Now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not. I said, Iran will not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up to kingdom come. And so I don't feel very strongly about it.
So what do you think about that, Congressman? Do we need a deal with Iran, or now that a lot of their nuclear toys have been taken away, we don't need to have another JCPOA type of deal, although apparently we don't know what happened to all the enriched uranium that they've already got.
That's right. And I think significant damage was done. We don't want them to rebuild this stockpile in the centrifuges. So I think the president's correct. The more leverage we put on Iran, the stronger our negotiating position is at the table. 60 days passed in these negotiations with the zero agreement from Iran. I was with Prime Minister Netanyahu 3 weeks ago, and he said, your negotiations will fail, and I will strike Iran with or without you. We talked about coordination with Israel, and now you saw the final series play out here. I would say also that Israel is doing things internally in Iran to take out their leadership and their top scientists. So Iran doesn't have the leverage right now at the table. It's a perfect time to get them to negotiate. And if not, I think the president has been very strong, peace through strength, that if you don't comply, we're willing to bomb you again. And I think that's a very strong message.
So we've got some breaking news here. This comes from our producer, Pat Ward, on Capitol Hill. A White House official confirms to Fox that the Trump administration plans to limit sharing classified information with Congress after someone leaked that internal assessment of Saturday's bombings of Iran's nuclear facilities. The suggestion, I mean, if you were to read between the lines there, is that the leak came from Congress. What do you think about the White House limiting the sharing of classified information with members of Congress?
Well, I think those who are on the intelligence, national security related committees like myself should have access to classified information. We are the policy makers. So for us to make a wise decision, we need access to that material. I don't know who leaked this. Whoever did should be prosecuted to the fullest extent. I think it's always treason when you leak classified information like what was done. But I do think Article 1, separate, equal branch of government, we will have access to classified information. I understand the president's frustration here completely. And I understand why he's angry about this. It should never have happened. And it was a low confidence DIA report to begin with. That means there's low confidence in the assessment that you've now heard about. So anyway, I hope the leaker is caught. I don't think it was a member, but if it was, they should be held accountable.